Okay, so let's read the premise. Healthy Bites is a fast food joint serving three items. These three, okay. Two employees, A and B, who prepare the items ordered by the clients. Preparation time is 10 minutes for a burger, 2 minutes for an ice cream, and an employee can prepare only one of these items at a time. So this is crucial. The fries are prepared in an automatic fryer, which can prepare up to three portions of fries. Okay, and take 5 minutes, irrespective of the number of portions. Okay, so you can prepare up to three portions of fries, but then it will take 5 minutes, irrespective of whatever you do, whether you put in one portion or two portion or three portions. Okay, so objectively, I mean, if I have no other constraint, I'll always put three portions, right? But depends on the context. So let's carry on. So the fryer does not need an employee to constantly attend to it. Okay, so the fryer is independent, so that's automatic. Um, and we can ignore time taken by an employee to start and stop the fryer. So that is negligible time. Yeah. So fryer has nothing to do with the employees. So basically, the employees that constraint that we had can prepare only one of the items at a time. So that is nothing to do with the fries. So fries will be just automatic, but the time is relevant, of course. 5 minutes time. Okay, and so we can ignore. So till this point we have read. So thus, an employee can be engaged in preparing other items while the frying obvious. However, fries cannot be prepared in anticipation of future orders. Okay, so this is the constraint I was talking. So this is what came to my mind. So objectively, I'll always put in three portions of fries, right? But if I don't, if I'm not allowed to prepare in anticipation of future orders, so maybe because of getting stale or something, so depending on the number of orders, I'll put in fries. So if I so this table should be something to do. Yeah, I see there is two portion of fries and one portion of fries. So first one is three portion of fry, but then two portion and one portion. So I cannot prepare these two portions together. I mean, until unless both are being placed together, something like that. Okay, let's not dwell into that now. Okay, what else do we know? So Healthy Bites wishes to serve the orders as early as possible. Okay, that's obvious. The individual times in any orders are served as and when ready. Okay, so the orders are served as and when ready. However, the order is considered to be completely served only when all the this is what I was pondering anyhow on. It's obvious, right? So if the complete order is ready, so the first order, the client one order, I hope you can see there's one burger, two, three portions of fries, and one order of ice cream, right? So once each of these things are ready, then only you can serve the client. Okay. So the table below gives the order of the three clients and the times at which they place their orders. So there's nothing to analyze in this as such until unless we get any constraints on something. All I'll do is I'll just take a note of the items, the time, and the, let's say, the number of engagements or something. So how many people will be engaged? So typically the number of engagement will be one or zero. So the zero will be for the fries only. So let me put that information now. So we have just three items: burger, we have ice cream, and we have fries. So time is 10 minutes. Everything is minutes, so let me ignore the minutes. So 10 minutes, 2 minutes, and 5 minutes. This is one engagement, nothing. So this is our working thing. And let's get the questions only directly. Also, I'll take a note of these orders as well, because once I take the question, that will be relevant somehow. So order one, two, three. I can see the table, but I'll just take a note of that. So one burger, three fries, and one ice cream. So this is what we have. We have two fries and one ice cream. Why am I doing it this way? Okay, let me put it in different way. What I'll do is something like this: burger, fries. Let me put ice cream first. and fries. Yeah, this seems much more convenient. Yeah. So first order, there is one burger, there is one ice cream, and there are three fries. For the second one, we have two fries and one ice cream. This is what we have. There's one burger here and one portion of fries. Okay, so these are all the information that I require. So let me get into the questions now. Okay, so first question. Assume that only one client's order can be processed at any given point of time. So an A or B cannot start preparing a new order while the previous order is being prepared. Okay, so that adds an constraint. Sorry. So until and unless one of the order is completed, um, the next order cannot be taken in. Okay, great. At what time is the order placed by client one completely served? What sort of question is this? This is very easy. First order. Okay, first order is what? 10 minutes for burger. So this will take from 10 to 10:10. So that was placed. I remember the order timings. So let me just write that as well. So these were the timings that the orders were placed. Yeah, so let me get to the questions now. So yeah, so 10 o'clock the first order was placed. So burger itself will take 10 minutes, and ice cream somebody else can prepare, right? So it just takes one engagement for each of them. A and B, we have two workers. So this will be finished by that much time, and the fries will obviously be finished by that much time, 10 or 5 or something. So I'm just writing in short. Obviously by 10:10. So that is the first answer. It's a pretty simple one. Okay, so let me write this properly. So this will go from 10 to 10:05. Okay, but do I need this constraint for the next one? Assume that only one client's order can be processed at any given point. Yeah, so the same constraint. Even we cannot study. Yeah, so the same constraint. Yeah, so client three. So this seems like something to do. Okay, what do we know? So until unless the first order is placed, we cannot start the next order. So effectively, I cannot start the ice cream nor the fries before the first order is completed. For the second order, that is. So first of all, so there are two portions of fries. We know that for fries we can take a maximum of three portions, right? I should have taken that. I hope you remember the premise. So there are a maximum of three portions in fries. So for the second order, we can start from 10 minutes past 10. So this will go up to from 10 minutes past 10 to 10 minutes past 15. Sorry, 15 minutes past 10. What did I say? Anyhow, 10:15. So this will go from 10:10 to 10:15. And for ice cream, it will go from 10:10 to 10:12. Again, we should be considering the maximum time. So maximum time in this case would be 10:15. That is when the first order gets completed, a second order gets completed, and after that we have one burger and one fry, right? So fry will take 5 minutes and burger will take 10 minutes, so 10 minutes after 10:15, so that is 10:25. So I don't need to explicitly write that down. I hope you understood that. So this will go from 10:15 to 10:25, and fries will definitely be over by then. So the answer for this should be 10:25. We cannot start an order until the previous order is completed. So let us check the next question. Suppose the employees are allowed to process multiple orders at a time, but the preference would be to finish the orders of clients who place their orders earlier. Okay, so now you can process multiple orders at a time, but the preference will always be to finish the order of the clients who place their orders earlier. So how would that impact? So it's something like I would not start burger for the second client, or burger is not for the second client. I'm just putting in a hypothetical scenario. I would not start a burger for the second client until unless I finish burger for the first client. So something like that, right? So in this case, we would be okay. So let's take this up. So I'll just take these numbers off. You can draw a separate table for this. Cut. ওইখানটাতে কাট করিস, আবার যখন আমি ইরেজ করা হয়ে যাবে তখন রিজিউম মারবি, বলে দেবো আমি রিজিউম। Hmm. Resume. Yeah. So we're looking for the time in which the client two can be completely served. So first thing, Burger will take up one engagement. So that, let's say A is engaged with Burger. So I'll just put, so everything is 10 o'clock, right? So unnecessarily I've been writing 10 every time. So I'll just write the minute part. So Burger will take from 0 to 10. I hope you understood this. Ice cream, somebody else can prepare. So can do it from 0 to 2. Fries would be from 0 to 5, right? So something like this. Now, I hope you can see that the second client order didn't even come before 10:05. So if it doesn't come before 10:05, you can't start the order before 10:05, right? So don't start the next order from 10:02. That is silly. The order came in at 10:05. So after that, we are going to start the order. Although this person is free, the Bani person or something, whoever that is, the person will not start the order before 10:05, right? So we have one ice cream and two fries. So we can start both of them at 5, 10:05 that is. So this will go from 5 to 7, but this will go from 5 to 10. Now it's fine because anyhow client 1 can be served at 10:10 and client 2 can be served at 10:10. But anyhow, the preference will affect only for individual columns. It is not going to interact in between columns because somebody is engaged with something else. So what would the other person do? So it's like that. So client 2 can be completely served in this case at 10:10. So that should be the answer here. Now let's move to the next question. Suppose the employees are allowed to process multiple orders at a time, but the preference would be to finish the orders. The clients who place the orders. Same question. So same premise, same constraints. That is. Now, what are we looking for? There's a fourth client. Okay, so there's a fourth client who appears at 10:35, places the order at 10:35. We don't know the order. Okay, so it might not be relevant. But then, okay, for some reason that has been given. Now between 10 o'clock to 10:30. Oh, that is the reason it's given. So okay, so fine, I understand that. I'll explain to you. So between 10 o'clock and 10:30, for how many minutes is exactly one of the employees idle? So 10:35, the next client has come in, so we don't have to worry about. So that is why, so that you don't get any ambiguity. So this is what I talk about. You don't get usually an ambiguity in a CAT set. So you don't have to consider the fourth client anyhow. So we are looking for 10 to 10:30. For how many minutes is exactly one person idle? Exactly one of the employees idle. Not that any one of the employees is idle. In that case, even if both A and B are idle, we can consider that. But how many minutes is exactly one person idle for? Okay, so let us figure this out. So first of all, once all the three clients are served, I don't have to worry about any period after that. I just have to worry about the period in which one of them is sitting idle, and that can only happen till the third client is served. After that, both will be anyhow sitting idle till the fourth client comes in, right? So we don't have to worry about it. So I can use these numbers first of all, and let me finish this table. So now what I know is Bani has completed the ice cream for the second order at 10:07. So each of these are just the minute part. So has finished in the seventh minute or something, at the end of seventh minute. Now Bani can start the burger, right? And is she supposed to start the burger? Yeah, allowed to process multiple orders. So Bani can start the burger, but then it will take, so let me mark the A's and B's. So let's say this person is A. So this is just hypothetical. You can just reverse it out, won't affect anyhow. So let's say this is A working, B working, B working. And here again, B starts the burger. The Bani starts the burger from 7, finishes at 10:17. And the fries can be completed by 10 to 15 or something once this part is over. So this is what the timings are, right? So let us draw a timeline here. Let me just consider up to 17 because I don't care about the rest of it anyhow. So I'll just mark the starting point at 0 and the ending point at 17. So I'll just repeat one last time. If you have understood, just bear with me for all of the people who are watching the recording. I'm just mentioning this once more. See, after 17 minutes past 10, after 10:17, both of them will be sitting idle, right? We are not supposed to take that time into consideration anyhow. We are looking for how many minutes is exactly one of the employees sitting idle for. So that is why I'm not considering beyond 17. So I'm just looking at this part. So first of all, if I look at 0 to 2, so just look at this section, these two, because the fries is automatic, right? So you don't have to worry about that. So just look at this part. So 0 to 2, number of idles, let's say, number of people who are idle, that is zero, right? Nobody is idle. 0 to 2, both are working. So let me take this off, not required here. So 0 to 2, nobody is idle. Now 2 to 5, 2 to 5, only Bani is idle. So one person is idle. So this qualifies, right? 5 to 7. Again, check this. I mean, this person, sorry, this person A is working for 0 to 10, right? So 5 to 7, both are working, right? So nobody is idle. Great. Now, what about 7 to 10? So don't don't worry about the scale of it. I'm just putting in random points here. I'm just looking at these numbers: 2, 5, 7, 10, 7, 17. So these numbers are the important ones. So 10. So the next in sequence is 10, right? Now what about 7 to 10? Now 7 to 10 again, both are working, right? So nobody's idle. But now from 10 to 17, this A person is idle because Barney is working on the burger, right? So 10 to 17, that's what, another 7 minutes. Sorry. So I don't care about that as of now. So number of idles is what I'm looking for. So that's one person, right? So essentially, I can find that this 3 minutes and this 7 minutes is when exactly one person was idle. So 3 and 7, that's a total of 10 minutes. So that should be the answer here. So option B. So that's it for this set. So let's get into the analysis now. So I guess you understood, and I hope that all of you who attempted the paper have solved this set pretty easily. This was a very easy set. I hope everybody will agree to me on that, right? It's a very easy set. I mean, there's nothing to it. You just have to be careful in how you collect the data and how you interpret the data. But whatever, I believe most of you will be able to do that. So it's an easy set. Ideal time, I will put it as 6 to 8 minutes. The only reason being the last question. So if I skip the last question, so it's typically something like a 5 minute set or something, or maybe a 4 minute set even. I don't want to put that number just to scare you, but it's typically and ideally a 6 to 8 minute set. So you can, I mean, depending on how good are you with these kind of things, you can actually solve a set like this in 6 minutes. It can go up to 8 minutes, and even 8 minutes for a set is a pretty good number. I hope you can agree with that. 4 questions in 8 minutes again. So so ideally, you should be doing a set like this in 6 to 8 minutes. I hope you have understood the solution. There was nothing too much complicated here. So this is a must to kind of set. Let me also mention that these kind of sets, don't be afraid to do, just because in some other set you have seen um, something like this very complicated. It's not mandatory. So these are the types of predefined notions that you should not go into in a paper. You should be very much open to analyze each and every set and then take a decision on the paper. So that is precisely the reason that we always say, whether it comes to LRDI, or whether it comes to quants or any department for that matter, even in English. English, typically we don't face this question, but mostly we face this question is LRDI and quant. Do not leave any basics untouched. You have to have an idea of each and every type of sets and each and every type of number distribution that you can face. Not specifically each and every variation of it, but then a fair bit of understanding of each and every type, how you can handle it, how. So typically in this case, as I hope you understood, that we took a matrix, sort of a matrix, right? So matrices are actually a good way to indicate lot of different types of data. So those kind of things, if naturally comes to you, then it will take quite a bit of less time. So again, I hope you enjoyed it. So thank you.